The difference between the nevuah of Moshe Rabeinu and Shar Neviim are really three madrigas of nevuah: nevuah of Moshe Rabeinu, nevuah of Shar Neviim, and ruach haKodesh or nevuah of Chachamim. Three different levels of receiving something deeper than what's in front of you, receiving something from a different world, included in which is the future, past, insight into the neshama haklali and the neshama haprati. These are the three different madrigas. And we learned Valdik from the Malbim that when Moshe Rabeinu was mechalik, rather when Hashem was mechalik between Nevi'im, he spoke to Miriam and to Aaron, and he said, you need to understand the difference between Moshe and Shar Nevi'im. It's a mefurish Hashem. You have to understand the difference between Avdi Moshe and Shar Nevi'im, and the difference is Shimunot Varai, Hashem said. Im yeh nevi'achem Hashem b'maro elav esvado b'chaloi madaber bo. That when we talk about Nevi'im, Yeshayahu, Yirmiyahu, you Miriam, you Aaron, we talk about Nevi'im, so it's b'maro elav esvado b'chaloi madaber bo. Why can't Avdi Moshe? Don't compare this to the nevuah of Moshe Rabeinu b'chol beisi nemanhu pe'al pe'adaber boy umare v'loy b'chidos. So the question was, by Shar Nevi'im it's b'mare love, and by Moshe Rabeinu mare v'loy b'chidos. So says the Malbim that let's get our Hebrew right. That by Shar Nevi'im it's Mara, and by Moshe Rabeinu it's Mareh. And a Mar'ah, even in modern Hebrew, is a mirror or a reflective device. And a Mar'eh is a vision or a glass that you can, a mashal glass that you could actually see through. In the words of Chazal, Aspaklaria me'ira, Aspaklaria she'ena me'ira. The difference is that if you look in Yeshaya, you see how this played out throughout the period of nevuah. The period of nevuah officially starts with Moshe Rabeinu by Matan Torah. That's the official period of nevuah. It starts in 2448 from briah Sa'olam. The Zman of nevuah officially ends with Esther, exactly 1,000 years later, in Adar 3448. Exactly 1,000 years was this skufa of Elef Shanim Beinecha Ki Esmo Gi'aver. 1,000 years here, 1,000 years there. But it was a 1,000-year skufa of nevuah. During the time of Moshe Rabeinu, there was a mar'eh. He was able to bring himself to a point where he can actually see the Shechina. Tmunas Hashem Yabid, he couldn't see the Pnei Hashem, but he was at least able to see the image or the silhouette or the Acharayim of haKodesh Baruch Hu. Shar Nevi'im, B'mar'ah, was a reflection like Yeshayahu, Yecheskel, Daniel, Re'isi Asakise V'hine Elav Tzuras Adam. They were able to see back at themselves. They were even able to see back at the whole Klal Yisrael, which was beside. They got up until the world of the Kisei HaKavod, until the world of briah, and in the world of briah, they were able to see everything that had to do with the briah, or his briah is where the briah begins. Neshamas begin. Everything begins in the world of briah. So that was their world. The world of the human is the world of humans, is the world of briah. Moshe Rabeinu also came to the world of briah, but he was able to see a little bit into past in the world, something he was able to see into the world of Atzilus. So you can't compare Moshe Rabeinu to Shar Nevi'im, which is why the difference between Mara and Maro, such a key important difference, is why the Nevi'im said Varisi Kidmus Adam, that they saw Kidmus Adam. They were able to see Neshama. Even Yaakov Avinu, who was before the Tkuvas of Nevi'im, saw, what did he see in the nevuah? What did he see in the nevuah? He saw Dmusai Shel Yaakov, he saw his own demus, chakuk alav. He saw the world of briah, and he saw his own neshama, and therefore the neshama of Klal Yisrael. Malach Elokim oilam v'yardim by, they were bringing him up these madregas of the sulam. But Moshe Rabeinu saw beyond. So that's what we learned. A very, very important difference. Says Rav Tzadok, let's look inside. Hine. Gam ken b'mara elav isvada, b'mara elav esvada. Even by the Shar Nevi'im, where it was b'mara elav esvada. Does everyone have the places? The words here are all very important.
Where is it?
Where exactly?
Where is it?
I have a different layout.
We're in Maimer Zion.
You have some parts in here.
I don't have it. In Zion, Maimer Zion, Zion. The words are a little bit different. Zehu, Maimer Zion, Zion. One second, please. Just give me a second. No, I'm not finding the exact words. Sorry. Is there another one of these? I'll use this one. Zion, Zion. A little bit different. Hasagas HaNevi'im, sorry. Hasagas HaNevi'im af shehi ba'aspaklaria she'ena me'ira mikol makom me'acher shero derech aspaklaria b'roin hadmus b'riya mamish af shehu rak dmus b'loi mamish nechshav riya. That when it comes to the Hasagas HaNevi'im, everyone have it, Zion, Zion, what other Nevi'im see, Af shahaya b'aspaklaria she'ena me'ira, the lens that they saw was not a clear lens, mikol makom, nevertheless, me'acher shero derech aspaklaria, since soif kol soif, they saw it through a lens, royin hadmus b'riya mamish, whatever they saw with riya. Whatever they saw was called riya, af shehu rak dmus v'loi mamish. So, in other words, there's the instrument or the function of seeing as opposed to feeling, let's say, or as opposed to understanding. Seeing is a riya, like seeing is believing. You see something. I saw. So seeing is not necessarily understanding, and understanding is not necessarily seeing. Two different things. So when you see something, that was an aspaklaria me'ira. It was not a clear seeing. It was a aspaklaria she'ena me'ira, but it was a seeing. Af shiroyin kimikomal kimiacha shiro derech aspaklaria sof kol sof. They had the lens. Kilu, they came to that window. Royin hatmus briah mamash. What they did see, they saw. So they saw, and what did they see? Like Yaakov Avinu saw the dmus diuknoi chakok al kisei hakavod. So he saw. Af shurak dmus malay mamash. He couldn't see Hashem. He couldn't see the Shechina. But he saw. What he saw, which was the makar of the neshama. Nechshav riyah, and that's called seeing. Kamosha Amar Yeshayahu. Yeshayahu said this. Ra'isi es Hashem. That was his lashon. Ra'isi es Hashem. V'hine hu ra'isi es hakisei. I saw the kisei. V'hine hu yoshev alav kudmos adam. Ra'isi. He saw something. Chen Yecheskel b'merkava. Ra'isi. Amar lashon riyah. Avala Chachamim shenichnasu lePARDES. However, the Chachamim, which were nichnasu lePARDES, hayrak soifin b'merkava. Hayrak soifin b'merkava. Okay. I just found it inside of mine. Zayin. By the Chachamim, we don't find the lashon of Re'iyah. What we find is the lashon of Tzefiyah. What does Tzofin mean? Har HaTzofim.
Looking from far away.
Also Aspaklaria, from far away. Let's say. Telescope. Scope. Hayurak Tzofin b'merkava derech Tzefiyah. Shehi madrega pechusa mi'ri'iyah, which is not quite seen. So we have here Re'iyah, which the Nevi'im did for 1,000 years, and then we came to the Tkufa of the Chachamim, which started with the Anshe Knesset Hagdolah, and there they went from Re'iyah to Tzefiyah. Kimashmo is loshin Tzefiyah, because if you want to understand Tzefiyah, shehu meruchak yoiser, it means you're further away. She'ein sham riyah gemura, and there's not a complete riyah. Now let me just the beauty of loshin of Chazal. The beauty of loshin Chazal. Shui, this is perfect. Come here, Rameir. The beauty of the loshin Chazal. Rav Tzadok here is referring to the Chachamim kishenichnasu lePARDES, which of course is referring to the famous Gemara. And let's look at the Gemara and we'll understand things I never understood before. The Gemara says, at least I never understood before. The Gemara says, Tana Rabban, unsuspected, a brisa like every other brisa, all of a sudden, wow. Tana Rabban, Arba nichnasu lePARDES, which Rav Tzadok is quoting without quoting. Arba nichnasu lePARDES, there was a story of Arba nichnasu lePARDES, Eluhain, Ben Azai, Ben Zoma, Acher, Elisha ben Avuya, ben Rabbi Akiva. Now,
It says Acher?
Acher, it says here.
It was before the last.
Okay, some Gershas it says, and the Yerushalmi it says Elisha ben Avuya. So these were not four during different periods of history, four came together, according to the Yerushalmi. Rabbi Akiva called this meeting a sort of a spiritual meeting. Let's do something. Let's do something. Rav Tzadok here is masber something which, a nuance which we wouldn't understand in this Gemara. What were they trying to do? They were trying to be the Nevi'im of Torah Shel Bal Peh. Meaning the Tkufas HaNevuah was over. And they still had questions and they needed some nevuah. Why is Hadrian killing us all? Why were we expelled from Klal Yisrael? Rabbi Akiva's question, why isn't Mashiach here? I got Bar Kochba and everything, where's Mashiach? So we need a Navi, we need Yeshayahu, we need Yecheskel, we need Moshe Rabeinu. And so Rabbi Akiva said, okay, I am the father of, not Torah Shel B'Ksav like Moshe Rabeinu, I'm the father of Torah Shel Bal Peh. Let's do nevuah derech Torah Shel Bal Peh. We can't do a re'iyah like the Nevi'im did. We're not going to see. What we can do is a tzefiyah. What's a tzefiyah? We can see it from further away. Or let's look at Rav Tzadok a little bit further. Ki mashmois lashon sefia shehu mirachik yoser, you're from a further away place. She'ein sham riyah gemor, that you're not really seeing anything. V'amru harbeit safu lidrosh b'merkava. Many people tried to see the merkava that Yecheskel saw. V'loi ro'os samiyameim, but it didn't work out for them. The key sentence here: Dirak be'avnasa deliba talya. Because in the time of Torah Shel Bal Peh, in the time of Rabbi Akiva, be'avnasa deliba talya was talya in binas halev. It was not talya in what you see, it was talya in what you can process and what you can understand. What's bina? Bina is maven davar, mitoich davar, the tremendous lumdus of Rabbi Akiva. We can do it too. We also can reach the pardes. So they went derech pardes, pshat. Let's go further. Remez, drush, soid, which agav, and not so agav, is connected the arba ilamos of atzilus, briah, yetzira, asiyah. So pshat is in the world that we live in. That's pshat. That's pshat. Simple pshat. Halavai we would know pshat. Pshat. But when you go further to the world of Yetzirah, you're in the world of Remez. It's not pshat, it's deeper. It's what's behind the scenes, under the hood. Can we go up to the world of, that's the world of Remez. Can we go up to the world of Drush? Drush is the world of, right, the world of briah. We'll explain. Until the world of Atzilus, which is the world of sight. Where's the greatest secret of the world? That which you can't see. Ultimate sight is that which you can't see. So they said. So Rabbi Akiva said like this. This was his leadership of the day. Let's do something here that we can be neviim, but neviim of Torah Shel Bal Peh. So what? So don't. What's he going to say? I'm going to preempt the Gemara. If he's sitting here with these four tzadikim and these four Gedolei Hadar, three Gedolei Hadar in him, he was clearly the Gadol Hadar. With Elisha ben Avuya, he's sitting here with Ben Zayba, Ben Azai, the tzadikim of the Hadar, and he's being madrich them that we're going to do something. Now this wasn't a seance, you know. It was, as Tosfos says, Alavakom. It was an exercise, an intellectual exercise. Pshat, Remez, Drush, Sight. We're going to go to a very, very deep place here. Rabbi Akiva told him. So what's he going to say? Let's preempt the Gemara. He's going to say, don't think you're Yeshayahu here or Yecheskel and you're going to see something. Because there's no re'iyah for us. The kufa of nevuah is over at 34, 48. We're already 70 years after. 7,500 years after. There's no re'iyah here. What's going to be? Uvnasa deliba. It's going to be some bina here. That was his hadracha. Listen to his words. Amar lahem Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva said to them, Kesheti konsu etzel avnei shayish tahar. When you're going to encounter in our process this sparkling marble avnei shayish tahar, he zaharu. Be very, very careful. Shaloi taimru, and don't say mayim mayim. Don't say mayim. Okay, what's the pashut of pshat? Like sometimes you're driving here on the highway in Israel and you can see, say, wow, what a beautiful lake. It's not a lake; it's a bunch of plastic bags over the ground. Right? It looks like a lake. So sometimes, right? See, everybody says the way the sun is shining, it looks like a lake. What's that like? What would be worse? If you dive into the pool and it's really avnei shayish, looked like water, thought it was water. Oh, okay. So that's a painful thing. So, pashut of pshat is a gemara you can skip almost, because what is it talking about? When you're going to get in our learning here of pshat, Rebbe, Drush, somewhere there, you're going to get to the avnei shayish tar, whatever the world that is. Al taimru bayim. Don't say bayim. Why not? Mishum d'chsiv. Also steht in Pasuk, Doiver Shkarim la yikoin l'neged einai. It's Pasuk in Tilim Kuf Aleph, that if you are speaking Sheker, Doiver Shkarim la yikoin l'neged einai, you were not going to be muchan for anything in front of, in my eyes, Hashem says. Hikoin likras elakecha elikim. The first thing is emes, right? Emes. What was he saying here? Says Rashi, that when you come to the Avnei Shayish Torah, the Kabbalistic ideas, right? Says Rashi, Pshat, world of Pshat. Says Rashi, Shayish Tahar Mavhik. It's going to be shining Kemayim Salulim, like very, very clear water. It's not going to be so opaque. It's going to be something that Salul. Al Taimru, so don't say he's Haru, the Gemara says. Al Taimru Mayim. Says Rashi, Yesh kan eich nelech. You're going to see the Avnei Shayish Tahar. It's really a shiny Shayish is like a mirror. You're going to see it and you're going to think, this is not a mirror, this is a window. It looks like a mirror, it looks like a window, but it's not a window, it's a mirror. So what you're really seeing is you're seeing backwards. You're seeing a reflection, you're not seeing through. But you're going to say, Al Tayru, you might want to say, Mayim. No, I see through. Rabbi Akiva, I see through. Yesh kan, says Rashi, Eich Nelech. Chabdo Aveg. I have a way to get through this. Rabbi Akiva said, be careful with this. Why? Because Doiver Shkarim, Lo Yikain Leneged Eina. You think you're seeing something and you're not. Look, I don't know. I don't know your experience, but like I think everybody in this world that we live in who thinks they're Mashiach felt the necessity to come and say Shalom Aleichem to me at some point. And the second group is those that have actually seen God. I met them all. I don't know why. I'm like a magnet to these Mashiachans. But everybody saw God. What's the pshat in these people? The pshat in these people is, I don't know what the pshat in these people is. But
They saw a mirage.
Huh?
They saw a mirage.
The pshat in these people is doiver shkarim lo yikoin leneged eina. You see something. What did you see? I saw light. I saw this. How do you know you're having a nevuah? Whenever my leg itches. Everything I heard. But I said in a certain place, I get a new. They're seeing something, but they're doiver shkarim. You see something, Baruch Hashem, you see something, but it doesn't mean that you're seeing Hashem. It doesn't mean you don't know what Hashem looks like. How do you know you see? How do you know you're Mashiach? You don't know what Mashiach is. So the doiver shkarim lo yikoy leneged eina. What happens in this story? They go through their process. Says the Gemara as follows: Ben Azai hates it. Ben Azai hates it. Peaks. Vames, says Rashi. Ben Azai. Well, Ben Zoima. Let's finish the word. Ben Azai hates it. Vames. Va'olav akasav oimer yakar be'enei Hashem hamavsa lachsidav. Yakar in this case means what? What does the word mean? Yakar be'enei Hashem hamavsa lachsidav.
Precious.
Precious.
Yeah,
It means difficult. Yakar means precious, difficult to get. Yakar be'enei Hashem hamavsa lachsidav. It really means, it doesn't mean it's precious. Hashem doesn't like when Tzadikim die. Yakar be'enei Hashem hamavsa lachsidav is like he was precious. Chaval an Ben Azai, that's what it means. Chaval an Ben Azai, shehates v'meis. What does it mean? He peeked and he saw. Ben Zoima, other tzaddik, hates it, peeked, v'nifka, went Meshuggah. Olav HaKosavaymer on him, the pasuk says, the pasuk for everybody here, Dvash matzasa, he found honey. Echol dayecha, eat just the right amount. Pen, tisba'ena, it's sweet, it's geschmack, give me more. Next thing you know, you're throwing up, your body can't handle it. So your mind, Ben Zoma, was not able to handle and
absorb
and hold what you saw. So here we have an unbelievably unsuccessful meeting that Rabbi Akiva calls together the Tzadikim, the Gedolei Hadar, and he says to them, don't trick yourself into thinking you're going to see, because you're not going to see. Ella, what's going to happen here? Pshat, Remez, Drush, Sod, B'uvnus of the Liba, Tal Yamilsa, you'll be able to understand. I'm not going to see. You're not going to see with your eyes. You're going to understand. You're going to see with your heart. They didn't buy it. Al Toimer, Kishatagil, Avnei Shaish, Al Toimer, Bayim. Don't think it's a window. Don't think it's slulim. It's not sulim. It's a reflection, you're saying. Ben Azai says, Ben Zoyma Hitzitz, he leaned, he peeked. Where did he peek? Where did he peek? Says Rashi, Ben Azai Hitzitz L'tzad Hashchina. He couldn't resist looking through L'tzad Hashchina. In other words, yes, it's an intellectual exercise, and he was the Chacham. Who said Ezehu Chacham Halaymin Mikoladim? Ben Zayma. It was the Makar of Chachma. Haroya Ben Zayma B'chalayim, says the Gemara in Brachos Nun Ches. Yitzpeh L'Chachma. Yitzpeh. Safoi. Yitzpeh L'Chachma. Ben Zayma was the Isha Chacham. I mean, it was like an Ilui, a guy, one of the greatest minds. Apparently, greater mind than Rabbi Akiva. Apparently. So it's mashma from Chazal in a number of places. Doesn't say you see Rabbi Akiva b'chalayim. Yitzveh l'chachma. Nazai were represented to Hashem. You want to understand Chachma? Look at Ben Zoma. You want to show you Chachma? I'll give you a dream about Ben Zoma. So Ben Zoma, okay, Rabbi Akiva said, don't do it, I'm going to do it. And what happened? Nitraf. So interesting, if you go the Gemara page further, Gemara tells a story about Ben Zoma who was walking around in the Harabayas. It was like Sedrait, so they like he wasn't acting normally. So so somebody said, "What's going on with Ben Zoma?" Adayin Ben Zoma bachutz. It's lashon. Which Pashat Pshat means he lost his mind. He's still not hasn't recovered yet from the Ma'aser Merkava. I understand what like an experience this was, but bachutz daika the Pshat is that knocking on heaven's door. Let me in. Let me see. Hitzitz, I'm trying to see, V'nifka. Ben Azai came at it from a different direction. I'm sure he was a bigger gon than we could imagine, but that wasn't his godless. His godless was his righteousness, his tzidkus. I can go there with my tzidkus. I can look. So they're both violating the instruction of Rabbi Akiva, who said, "This is Avin Shayish here. You can't get past this. I'm telling you can't get past this." So they tried to get past it. Hitzitz v'meis, hitzitz v'nifka, and the worst casualty of all is Acher, who also said, "I can see through," and kitzitz banatiyos. Says Rashi. Kitzitz banatiyos. Kitzitz banatiyos. He says. Rashi says and brings the Gemara later, Ra shtei reshuyos. He saw a certain dualism. And the Gemara spells out on Tezvav that he actually saw what he did see. The biggest Chacham of them all, apparently the biggest Gedolei of them all was Elisha ben Avuya. And he saw the Malach Matatrin. So says the Gemara. Malach Matatrin, that's a big Malach. Chief Malach, Matatrin. We know Gavriel Rafal, nothing like Matatrin. When Yaakov said, "Malach Hagoyel, see me Korah," says Ramban is talking about Matatrin. And when Hashem said to Moshe Rabeinu, "Yishlach Malachi lefanecha," I'll take you into Eretz Yisrael through a Malach, he meant Matatrin. It's a Ramban. And Moshe Rabeinu says, "Al tishlach Malach, imein ponecha holchim." I want Metatron. You. I mean, Panecha Holchin. And say Panecha, Hareini Noas Panecha. As Moshe Rabeinu is consistent in his bikush. Liris Pnei Hashem. That was his consistency. The Elisha ben Avuya saw Metatron, and like I'm the last one to knock Elisha ben Avuya, like I'm hold a lot of him. Meaning it was Apocaris. But his goinus, if we don't understand his Apocaris unless you can understand his goinus, he was the Gedolei Ador. He was mamish the Gedolei Ador. He was bigger than Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Meir saw him as numero uno and Rabbi Akiva as number 2. He would run after Elisha ben Avuya, Rabbi Meir, and Elisha ben Avuya said, "Go listen to Rabbi Akiva." Like Ein Omar Rabcha, Rabbi Akiva. He was condescending to Rabbi Akiva. So he saw. That they all saw. In other words, here's the difference. Ben Azai tried to look. He died. Ben Zoyma tried to look. Went Meshuggah, Nitzraf. Elisha ben Avuya tried to look and he saw. But what did he see? He couldn't see as far as Moshe Rabeinu. He couldn't see as far as even a Navi. He saw the Metatron. So says the Gemara. And he says, Kitzetz Benatiyas. There's 2 Rishuyos. So Rabbi Akiva was the 4th one. Nichnas b'shalom, v'yatza b'shalom. Came out without a scar. Casualty free. So again, let's understand it. What we're talking about here is Rabbi Akiva, the father of Torah Shel Bal Peh, trying to introduce to the Gedolei Hador a new concept of nevuah called godless in Torah, the neviim of Torah Shel Bal Peh. And this is not going to be al yedei riyah, al toimer mayim, and they didn't buy it. Ben Azai, Ben Zoyma, Elisha ben Avuya, no, we want to see. So the difference here, and this is, if Rav Tzadok was here, we have to hug him. What he teaches here. The difference here was the difference between Riyah and Bina. But the Yuk, what Rav Tzadok is saying, it's Mamash Pshat in the Gemara. So as I understood this, the light went off in my head. Says the Kaisev is a Pirush on the Ein Yaakov, which was written by the Ein Yaakov. That's why it's called haKodesh. Pirush Kimishu Magia B'Tzfiyah Selois Amaka. And once you come through Tzfiyah to that place, Niran Loisham Mayim Rabim, it looks like there's Mayim Rabim there. Rashi tells us what's Mayim Rabim. Slulim, you can see through. Put your hand through water. You can see through water even. No? You can see through water. You go scuba diving, you see through water. Ain't sham mayim, but there is no mayim there. You think it's mayim. Ela dmus ba'alman, here it is. Dmus, that's all you're seeing, is dmus. V'im omar, and if you want to say, Harei elu mayim nehadaf lefika sheker hu omer kain. You will not be able to live through the experience properly because you're saying sheker. You think you're saying something, you're not saying things. V'chein mefurish be'echolos rabasi, that's Nechoni ben Akana's version of the Zohar, the echolos, the Lashon Hazeh. He explains this explicitly. We'll go into his Lashon.
Why is it so deceptive? Is it because there's a lure to want to see more, so you convince yourself that you are seeing more?
Yeah, fair. So let's even more. What did Moshe Rabeinu want to see? Why? Hareini noas panecha. Lo yirani ha'adam b'chai. I want to see the whole thing. What do they want to see? So you don't get a window seat. Like what's the difference? You didn't see. Hareini noas kvaydcha. Hareini noas panecha. Says the Ramban, which is Musin and Chazal, Gemara says in Brachas, that he wanted to understand what? Lama yesh tzadik v'rabba. Or in modern jargon, why do the righteous suffer? What he wanted, understand this deeply, please. Understand this deeply. It wasn't really kasha, why do the righteous suffer? In other words, if Hashem is toiv, why is there ra happening? That's what Moshe Rabeinu wanted. There's Mitzrayim. Jews are avadim in Mitzrayim. Children are being thrown into the cement and into the water and being killed. Avodas parach. Hashem is toiv. Hareini. Let me see. If I could understand, if I could see, let's put it this way. If I could see through the window, then I could understand some echad here. Echad. So echad is toiv, and echad is what we call ra. And Kashem, Shemavarchin ala Toiv, Kach Mevarchin ala Ra. So what he wanted to see was the Echad. That was the lure. You can't see the Echad as long as you're in the world of Pirud. You think you're seeing Echad, but it's going to smack you in the face because at the end, you're from the world of briah on, and from the world of briah on is the element of Pirudim. So the question, the compelling spirit of Moshe Rabeinu was to understand, like, what show me Echad. Show me Hareini Nas Panecha, show me Echad, show me the place for a moment where it all makes sense, and it's Echad. What did Rabbi Akiva want to see? Here we are, the Beis HaMikdash was just destroyed, Rabbi Akiva saw the Beis HaMikdash. Rabbi Akiva didn't give up, according to the Yerushalmi, even into the Chorban Beis HaMikdash, he was going there bringing karbanos on the Makom HaMikdash. Lo kol kach yadua. Rabbi Akiva was working to bring Mashiach. Rabbi Akiva was dealing with the Hadrian decrees, where if you learned Torah, if you did bris milah, you were killed. Rabbi Akiva was exactly the same as Moshe Rabeinu, but in the Bechina of Torah Shel Bal Peh. Meaning, whatever Moshe Rabeinu was masig and wanted to be masig, Rabbi Akiva was masig and wanted to be masig. But Moshe Rabeinu derech Re'iyah, and Rabbi Akiva derech Uvnus Deliba. Hence, the Gemara in Menachos tells us that when Hashem wanted to show Moshe what's happening with the Torah, show Rabbi Akiva. Because Rabbi Akiva, and it was pretty impressive, Rabbi Akiva was doing what Moshe Rabeinu couldn't do. He's the Torah Shel Bal Peh. I'm the Torah Shel Bal Peh. I'm Ria, you're Bina. Yeah, you with me on this? So what we're talking about is it's exactly the same thing. They were after exactly the same thing. Lama yesh tzadik v'ralei. What was Elisha? We don't know. He died. He went crazy. Couldn't be masig the echad of Hashem. Elisha ben Avuya did something worse than not being masig. He was masig incorrectly. And masig incorrectly, Ra, says the Gemara, Matat, trying, oh, okay, why is there Ra in this world? Because there's two up there. And he became, in my opinion, a Christian. Christian like triplicate, the same thing. He basically became a min. A min in Lashon of the Gemara was a Sifrei Minim, the Gemara says, when Elisha ben Avuya was teaching, when he would stand up after the Shmaisa, when he would stand up, so Sifrei Minim Nafal Mikisai, the New Testament's falling out of his Sifrei Minim. He was reading the Gospels. The masters of Shtei Rishuyos. It's the masters of Shtei. You ever like a Christian doing Avera? The devil may be doing it. Who knows? But it's not the same like a different religion, just they believe Mashiach. A whole different theology. The theology of polytheism and dualism, the whole different theology than Hashem Echad U'Shmo Echad. That Hashem Echad U'Shmo Echad. Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. A whole different theology. So he saw the Matat trying, okay, I can understand it now. Why do the righteous suffer? Because there's a bad guy up there too. There's a good one, there's a bad one. Look at everything you know about Elisha ben Avuya. He sees a kid climbing up the tree to be Mekayim, the mitzvah kibbut of aim and shiluach hakan. And nafal v'meis eichan tuvas yamim shilza eichan arichas yamim shilza. What made him go up there? He saw righteous suffering.
What did Rabbi Akiva accomplish?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
What do you mean, what did he accomplish? He became the father of Torah Shel Bal Peh.
Did he come out with that Havana Shebalev?
Yeah. Meaning Nichnas b'shalom v'yatza b'shalom. Because Shalom is the part of the Echad that we can understand through Bina Saleh. It's a tact of Shalom. Tact of Shalom is the so Rabbi Akiva was able to be Kulam Aliba de Rabbi Akiva, says the Gemara. All of Sifra, Mishnah, Kulam Aliba de Rabbi Akiva, everything is a Kulam. Why? Because Rabbi Akiva had this moment of vision, but it was the vision of his life. What he understood, what he tried to get them to understand. Everyone understands I'm not denigrating Chazal anymore, but Chas v'shalom, offer anitach chas reglaim. But what I'm just saying in a lashon that we can understand it finally, can understand it, is that what Rabbi Akiva is trying to get them to understand is you're not going to have a re'iyah. The most you're going to have is a havana. I can help you with that havana. We are the neviim of Torah Shel Bal Peh. We are the neviim of this tkufa. You know what the Gemara says? The Gemara says that Kishachara Beis HaMikdash means the first Beis HaMikdash. Nitla nevuah min ha-neviim v'nasnu l'chacham was the transition of the Anshe Knesset Hagdolah. Listen to the language here of Chazal. That it's no longer about the nevuas ha-neviim, but it's about the nevuas ha-chachamim. In other words, what I'm saying is, it wasn't something different. Okay, like no more nevuah, now sit and learn. That's not the pshat. Nidla nevuah min neviim v'nasna l'chachamim. You also have nevuah, but it's a whole different sug. It's a sug of nevuah which comes through of Nesidaliba. This is the. You see, Esther. To learn Wednesday before Purim. The next paragraph. Esther was on the cusp. She lived in a time where the Anshe Knesset Hagdolah was being formed. There were still Nevi'im, and there were already Chachamim. Right? Anshe Knesset Hagdolah mehems like the Rambam harbe Nevi'im, common Nevi'im. It lived in a mixed way, almost a confusing way. But this is what we need to understand from the Gemara. It says Rabbi Tzadok. Ki mashma is lashon tzviya shu meruchak yoser she'ein shamriya gemura v'amru, and that's the pshat in trying to understand the pardes. V'amru harbe tzafu lidrosh b'merkava v'leirou oisam miyamehem. Many of the Chachamim, says the Gemara in Megillah, Chavdal and Beis, wanted to see what Yecheskel could see, which is the Ma'aseh Merkava, which, by the way, is also the Achdus Hashem, and all the different components and complicated pieces that go into the one piece of Echad. Why? Because the Rak be'avnus adeliba talya, says the Gemara, it's the lashon of the Gemara, because it was all tali and bina. You can't see the Merkava with bina. You can understand it. Ki chol tzefiyas hachachomim ha'yirak b'havanas halev shu madregas tzefiyah v'loy briah. Dividayik lidrash. Okay, we're away from this Gemara, and quickly let's learn outside the Gemara in Chulin. The Gemara in Chulin says that Kishachar v'bayis, by the bayis sheni, when the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed. So Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai was walking, Kishahaya Yotzei, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai me Yerushalayim, picture this, the Beis HaMikdash is destroyed, Yerushalayim is destroyed, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai is headed towards Ashdod, headed towards Yavne, Baruch, and he's walking the Gadol Ador, the Nasi, and Yerushalayim is burning behind him. So Kishiyatza, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai Yerushalayim, B'haya Rabbi Elazar ben Arach, his big Talmud Elazar ben Arach, who's called the Leiv Toy, right, in Pirkei Avos, right, that if you'll take all of the Chachamim and put them on one side of the scale, for Rabbi Elazar ben Arach, on the other side of the scale, he's tilting the scale. Haya Mechamer Acharav, he was helping him guide his mule, his donkey, whatever. And Rabbi Elazar ben Arach says, Harsheni Rebbe, let me ask you a question. Can we now do some drasha in the Ma'aseh Merkava? Like, can't we just learn say Tfilas Haderech or something? Can we do a little drasha, darshaning, doresh? Can we darshan in the Ma'aseh Merkava? Why did he want to darshan in the Ma'aseh Merkava? Because that's what Yecheskel did when he was walking out of Yerushalayim by the Bayis Rishon. So the Ma'aseh Merkava. I want to understand the same thing that they. I want to understand the Echad Hashem. I want to understand the justness. I want to understand why we're leaving Yerushalayim. I want to understand why Yerushalayim is burning and why thousands of people were killed. What does Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai tell him? He says to him, B'ni, don't you know, didn't you listen in class when I said, Ein darshan b'maisa merkava b'yechidus, that you can't darshan the maisa merkava, ella, unless, what? You're a chacham, umevin midaitai. The words are beautiful. We're not talking about seeing like Yecheskel sees. We're talking about ufnasa deliba. You have to be, either you have to have a big chabura of people learning this together, or you have to be a chacham umevin midaitai. Means, understand what Rabbi Akiva understood 50 years later, that in order to understand what Yecheskel understood, it's a whole different mahalach. It's not a mahalach of briah, it's a mahalach of havana. It's a mahalach of havana. Miyad, says the Gemara, Yorad Elazar ben Arach min Achamar Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai and Rabbi Elazar ben Arach. And off, they sat down under a tree, and Rabbi Elazar ben Arach started to darshan in the Maisa Merkava. And the Gemara says there that Yarda Eish min Hashamayim, Eish came from Shamayim and singed all the trees. They start, in other words, it was the same hadracha that Rabbi Akiva gave Ben Azai, Ben Zayma, Elisha Ben Avuya, was the exact same hadracha that Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai gave Rabbi Elazar ben Arach. Don't think you're going to see anything. You can do Havana. Okay, that's what we'll do. That's what we'll do then. He's slowly dry Shemai and you know what? It worked. It worked. Yarda Eish Min HaShamayim. They came to the same place. In fact, Chachamim Minavi. They came to the same place as Yecheskel came to, meaning that there was a regesh of the Shechina Mamish in this world. The fire came down and singed the trees. So it says Rav Tzadok that b'medayek in the lashon v'dayek lidraish. The word here is drush, not roya, but doiresh. That's something that you do. What's drush? Ki yadua. Da arba madregos pardes. Shibbatayra. That pshat, remez, drush, side, hey neged arba ailamais atzilus, briah, yitzira, asiya. So yes, Elazar ben Arach, B'ni, we can get out of the world of asiya to try to understand the echad. We can even get out of the world of yitzira, and we can even get into the world of briah, v'zehu. Because it's totally in bina of this world. So drush, pshat, remez, drush. Drush is the third world, and that's the world of briah. Hashem can't cite. Cite Hashem. Lo yirani ha'adam v'chai. So the Reb Tzadok in his Gaonus understands that's why they always, from the time Yecheskel wasn't dirish the Maisa Merkava. He saw the Maisa Merkava. Already, but that's by the first Chorban Beis HaMikdash. By the second Chorban Beis HaMikdash, there's no more seeing, now there's darshaning. That's what Rabbi Akiva said to his Talmidim. Rabbi Elazar ben Arach, by the way, was also a failure. The Hainu. Ben Azai hitzitz v'meis. Ben Zayma hitzitz v'nitra. Elisha ben Avuya kitzitz v'netiyos. And what happened to Rabbi Elazar ben Arach? Halach l'mdinas hayam v'shachach kol talmudai. The Gedolei Adar. If you'll put Rabbi Elazar ben Arach on one side, all the Chachmei Yisrael on the other side, he's outweighing the scale. Halach l'mdinas hayam v'shachach kol talmudai. The Gemara says. First Gemara. He lost it all. Another casualty. This is the casualty of trying to see when all you can do is darshan. So to start off as the Talmud of Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, but needed to go further. Okay.
Is it going to explain some of why the says tough? Whether your tongue says tough housing when the Valley says tough?
We'll leave it to you.
They were all looking for the same thing as Moshe.
Everyone's trying to understand the Moshe. Same thing as Moshe.
Why does Ra?
What is Ra?
Part of the godless of Rabbi Akiva was knowing what was attainable, just seeking that.
No, say better. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
by understanding how to attain even more than the nevuah, but through a different direction.
Right?
The Gavels of Rabbi Akiva is that he gets stuck
Oh,
the old way, in a way.
Why did he want to have a group together? Why wasn't it good enough for him to just do it himself?
Well, that's how it ended up, didn't it?
Oh, that's cool. But did you?
Is there a connection?
They were all leaders of different groups. The Rabbi Akiva was the Rav of Lud in central Israel. Elisha ben Abuya was the Rav of the Gedolei. They were all in different places.
The fact that nevuah ended when they got for Avodah Zarah to end. So there's got to be a connection here between this.
Sorry, I just want to remind you, the chassan is tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yes.